So hi, welcome to the Noise Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with
No,
Harris. Some questions to say about his new EP, How to Lose a Girl in 7 Songs. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to it so far?
dude, thank you. It has been, honestly, it's been amazing. It's been so cool to see. The project's been made for almost a year now, so I've been sitting on it for a long time. Um, and it's been everything that I could have imagined and more. It's been so cool, man. So cool.
Hell yeah, it's fucking awesome. It's so catchy.
Oh yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Of
Yeah,
course.
it's cool, man. I made all those songs, like just me and my best friends. We just made something we thought was cool. Now it's cool to see like all the all of us getting kind of the recognition and love for it because we've just worked on it for so long. It's an
Absolutely.
awesome thing to see.
Hell yeah, and having virality off of your first project, that's not a bad feat, you know?
No, I mean, that was mind blowing. I still am mind blown by it. Like when I look at the numbers sometimes and like look at what has happened in the past 6 months, it's still just like I can't even wrap my head around it sometimes.
Hell yeah.
It's well deserved. So is there any meaning behind the EP title or cover art?
Um, not like exactly. I mean, to be honest, it was funny. We kind of came up with the title as a joke. Um, like that was always just like the working title. We're like we always knew because like so the whole project is basically all the songs are different stories about how a relationship can go wrong. Whether you're the bad guy, whether the other person's the bad guy. It's all just about like relationships going sour. Um, and we loved the idea of like a rom-com, and we were like, how could we tie this into something like that? And so I remember we were like sitting at a kitchen counter, me and two of my friends, and we were just like naming off all these random rom-coms, and somebody said How to Lose a Girl in 10 Days, and we are like, oh, we have 7 songs. And we said that, and that was always just kind of like the joking title. We never thought it was serious. But then like when I kind of started really putting the project together and making it like what it is, I always knew I wanted to do a like like a visually conceptual thing.
Mhm.
Kind of how I don't know if you guys listen to Lauv at all, but
Mhm.
how he did his like How I'm Feeling record and how all the
Yep.
songs were personalities. I just thought it'd be so cool to like every song's just a different reason of how you lost somebody or whatever, and then having all the different colors. I just thought it was so visually like pleasing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for this EP?
Ooh, dude, it's kind of crazy, man. Like these songs were so I was my whole goal. I moved to Nashville. My whole goal was to be a songwriter, right?
Mhm.
I never really was even trying to be an artist. That was never like it just never seemed like something that was realistic for me. I just always knew I was a good songwriter and never like that was what I was good at. So that was what I was going to focus on, right? Um, and all these songs were just random songs that me and I would say 3 of my best friends, John Townsend, Zach Smith, and Spencer Jordan, we had written all these songs, but they didn't have homes for other artists. Like a lot of the times I would write songs for other people. And we would kind of pick out artists that we would like try to pitch them to. And we just had all these leftover songs. And so I recorded the demos of them um, to pitch to people. And then we recorded them all and we were like, we can't give these songs to anybody. We're like, there's no way. And so um I mean, like to be honest, it's really just all the songs I don't even remember writing them. Like they just always like they were just songs that were sitting around that me and my friends had made. Like I couldn't even tell you. Like when we wrote "Hate My Guts" and "Porch Lights," like we wrote those songs like 2 years ago. I couldn't even tell you when or where we were when we wrote them. I just like they just existed, and it's cool to see the life that they have now because I never would have thought that we would be in this position with those songs in particular.
It's so crazy that like you move there, you're like, all right, I'm going to be a songwriter, and then you just kind of fall into being an artist. Like, how the hell?
Dude, I don't know. That's exactly what I thought. I mean, I literally like we recorded the songs. I knew a producer. His name's Cam Becker. Now he's one of my best friends. He lives in Nashville now because of the EP, which is super cool. I think
Oh,
that's awesome. But he was living in Columbus, Ohio at the time. Some guy like he barely knew me, and I was just like, hey, I have some songs, can I come record them with you, whatever. And even like the week that I recorded them, I knew they sounded cool, but even that week I was like, yeah, I'll take them back. Like I just signed my publishing deal, which like I had signed my publishing deal in May, and that was already the dream come true. Like I was already like, I have my dream job. This is amazing. And I showed the 7 songs to my publishers, and they were like, "You're putting these out right now." And I was like, "Are you sure?" And they were like, "Yes, 100%. You're not giving them to anybody." And thankfully, it all worked out. But like I said, I never thought in a million years that I would be in a position like this. It really is like mind blowing to me.
It's so crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love how it worked out just bundling these songs together because, as you said, they all have a very consistent theme about just relationships and, losing a person. I love how perfect it all fits together.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally like a stars aligned,
Yeah.
and maybe like in the back of my brain, I think I may have subconsciously, like, without even realizing what I was doing, so I went through a lot of the songs are based in, like, I wouldn't say all of the songs are true or like about somebody, but like I was in a really long relationship that I had gotten out of. And I think subconsciously, all of these songs, like I said, they were all left over. I think in the back of my mind, I was writing those songs to kind of like let that out. But I didn't realize it at the time. Like, I don't know. It's such a strange thing to me writing songs. Like, I will often look back, like, when I wrote NYC, I wrote that song like almost 3 years ago.
Damn.
And yeah, like it's like and it was one of those songs that at the time I wrote it and just thought it was like I was like, oh, that's just like a nice song, whatever. But now I look back 3 years later and I'm like, now I understand why I wrote that song. I'm like, I know what I was like going through at that time, and now it like makes much more sense. And I have the same kind of feelings as these songs. Like I feel like in a year I'm gonna look back at these songs and be like, oh, that's why I wrote that. Like that, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. I know
Mhm.
that's kind of crazy,
No, that
but
makes sense.
No, not at all.
yeah.
Yeah. So what is your favorite lyric off this EP and what does it mean to you?
Ooh. Um, Honestly, probably from NYC, I'm a monumental mess. That's probably my favorite. Just because one, I think it's so, you know, I go through life, a lot of days that I have to act like on a daily basis that I have it together. Like I really do on a daily basis. I have to act like I know what I'm doing and stuff.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, I don't have a clue. Like I am like there are days where I am like a disaster of a human being, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, especially
Absolutely.
growing up like at the age that I'm at. Um, you know, you think you're gonna know things and have things figured out, but like I'm 25, and I always thought that I would have more of a grasp on things than I do at this age,
Mm.
Um, and plus, I think it's hilarious. It always goes over people's heads. Like the line before is like, I should go to Washington. And then that's like Washington, D.C., and then like the Washington monuments.
Mm.
And like that always goes over people's heads. Nobody ever is. And I think it's so funny. But that's probably my favorite one. I think it's resonated with the most people. People have like showed up with monumental mess tattoos to shows.
Holy
Um,
shit.
yeah, which is like, that's the craziest thing ever. That's the craziest thing
Yeah.
ever.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
wild.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So where was your headspace at while you were creating the CP?
Honestly, just after sneakers kind of happened, like I said, there were a couple different variations of the EP. There like originally Dumpster Fire wasn't on there, and neither was I want to say Dumpster Fire and Porch Lights, I believe, weren't originally like there were a couple different processes and a couple different variations of the project, but I think once sneakers happened and I finally kind of got a little like attention and people really noticing, then it was like my whole headspace was like, let's put out these songs that all sound very different and like show people that we are capable of making like pretty much whatever we want. Like that's always been a big, I never want to classify myself in one like genre. I know it's like rock in a way, but then you have songs like that are like, I don't want to know that aren't rock at all. That's a straight up pop
Mhm.
song. And like, I
Yeah.
want to be able in the new stuff to, dive into those things and have full blown pop songs and then also have full blown rock songs. And like, you know, so yeah, I guess my head was just always like, I've been working with the same guys for like 4 or 5 years, right? Like I said, just me and my friends, and um, we never thought that I would be the artist. We never thought that, but now I feel like I've been lucky enough to be like, I feel like the representative of, I just get to be the face of the thing that me and my friends have made,
Mhm.
and our headspace. I hate even saying like my, because it was such a collective effort with all of
Mhm.
us. Um, and I feel like our headspace was just like, let's like show the world what we've been doing, and that like what we've been doing like matters, and that we haven't been just wasting our time making these, like, we want to really touch as many people as possible. And we were always just like, let's make this thing as big and beautiful as we can possibly make it. That was always the big goal, I think.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So before this collection of songs, it never crossed your mind to be the artist.
Yeah, not really. I mean, like, I had released songs like 3 years ago on Spotify that were my own, but even like back then, they never really felt like me. Like, I always felt like I was forcing it. And
Mm.
I took them down off Spotify, and they did okay. I think one of them had like 50,000 streams, like with no viral, like,
Yeah.
it was nothing ever like crazy, but I just was never, I didn't have the artist thing figured out. Like, I feel like I didn't know who I was as a person, even like,
Mm.
um, as like, I feel like I do way more now, but like back then, like when I was writing songs for people, I was doing a lot of punk rock stuff, which was cool. That opened so many opportunities for me, for sure. But I did fall into like, at one point I had my like nails painted, and I just like, one day I was like looking in the mirror, and I was just like, you are not being who you are. Like,
Mhm.
you're trying to be someone else. And I felt the same thing as like an artist. I was always just trying to be something I wasn't.
Yeah.
And like I said, I always knew the one thing that I was good at, and what was me, was just writing songs, um,
Mhm.
and just pouring your heart out into songs always. And so for like a year and a half, I just only focused on that. I was like, I don't care about anything else. I don't care about social media followers. Like, I don't care if anybody thinks I'm cool. I'm just going to write what I love writing. And I feel like I kind of learned that doing that is like, that's what's cool, is when people know that you're genuine and like not trying to fake it at all. And I feel like I'm not faking it even in the slightest anymore, which I love a lot.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So like for these songs, it was easy for you to write them, but did you have like any anxiety putting them out because they are personal and you aren't kind of like behind someone else? Someone isn't releasing it for you. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was only anxious in the fact of like, after having a song like Sneakers, it was like, okay, I have to hold on to this moment, and what, like, here's the make or break moment. What am I gonna do with this? Like,
Mhm.
am I gonna put out all these songs that nobody likes after? Like, that was kind of like, am I gonna be a one hit wonder? Like, that whole, that was more so the anxiety, rather than um letting people see like personal sides of me, because I feel like that's one of the reasons why people connect with the songs, is because they are so vulnerable,
Mhm.
and they are just being completely walls down and just letting it out,
Mhm.
um and I think that's such a huge thing as to why people do connect with them.
Absolutely.
So like, yes, there was anxiety, but not exactly for that reason, you know what I mean?
Understood. And
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
think for like your future releases, do you think while you're writing, because you're writing for yourself now, you'll be a little hesitant because you aren't writing for other people? Or do you think your walls are down, you're completely ready to go?
I mean, yeah, like, I feel like walls are down. I am completely ready to go, but it is different than what I'm
Mm.
used to. Like, I've never written songs for me before. Like,
Yeah.
I've never, this is very new in the past 6 months. Like, now I walk into writers' rooms and I'm the artist, and they're like,
Yeah.
okay, what are we writing today? And I'm like, I'm normally the guy that walks in, is like, okay, you're the artist. What are we writing today? And so
Yeah.
that part has been an adjustment, but one that I'm really enjoying. And like I said, it is very different, and it's a different way of writing songs, but um I think it's something that I'm learning, and I feel like I'm getting better at it every day, which is cool.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. I'm so
Yeah.
happy to hear that.
Yeah, thanks.
Of course. So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this EP for the first time? Should they play it in the car with friends, dark with headphones on? Should they blast at a party, work out to it? What do you personally recommend?
I personally think get in your car and listen to it in the order that it is in.
Mhm.
Not because of any particular storyline, but I very purposefully like made the order of the songs the way that they are because I want every song to feel like it's like a boxing match. Like you have Hate My Guts, and then you have Time Machine, completely different, and then you have Sneakers, completely different. Then I don't want to know all like, and it's just like every song is just like I purposefully set them up to where every single song is a completely new texture, a completely new feel.
Mhm.
Um, and so I recommend that. But also while you're driving, like roll the windows down and enjoy it. Like it's not supposed to be a sad record, you know. Um, it might be lyrically and you know the substance might be sad, but when you listen to all of it and it's like as loud as you can and you're enjoying it's so much fun. Like the songs live are just the shows have been amazing. Like it so I definitely recommend just listening to it in order as loud as you possibly can.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this question should be super, super quick. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe the CP for new listeners in 3 words, no more, no less.
Ooh, okay. Fun is the first one. It has to be fun.
Okay.
Fun, it fun, deep, because it's deeper than you think. The lyrics are deeper than you think. And what would the third one be? Honestly, new is what I would
Mm.
say. It's I get a lot of people that say, oh, you have the band Camino vibe, and I love band Camino. I'm like such a fangirl of them. But if you listen to my songs right next to band Camino,
Mhm.
they're not the same at all.
No.
Like it's very, very different. Like Camino could never have a song like Dumpster Fire, for example, and I
Yeah.
I feel like it's this new I don't know. I feel like I've never heard anybody like make the kind of sounds that we're doing with the lyrics and the melodies that we're writing, if that makes sense. It's like if Ed Sheeran wrote songs over top of like pop rock. That's how I like to describe it.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I would say new, fun, deep, and new.
Fun,
Hell
deep,
yeah.
new.
Or
Perfect.
fresh. We can say that too.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite memory that you made while creating this EP?
Honestly, my favorite one was I remember the day. So Sneakers was originally not a song at all. It didn't even exist. And uh we were trying to write one more really good song for the project. And I remember the day we wrote Sneakers and all of us were just kind of sitting around like looking at each other like, holy shit, this might be like a hit song. We were like, this is kind of crazy. Um, and just like that day, like, shows are amazing and all of this has been amazing. But, like I said, I'm a songwriter and the things that I live for is those moments in the studio with, and especially with the guys that I wrote it with. Those are 5 guys that I love so much, like some of the closest people in my life. And there's nothing that is cooler to me than being in those moments in the studio when you do feel like you're like, holy shit, we just made that. Like that came from our brains. We're like, what the heck? And I'll never forget. We were there we were at John Townsend's from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. I mean, like,
Damn.
just because we couldn't leave, we were like, oh my God, this is crazy. We were like, we have to like, this is the song. And so that was probably my favorite one. And then because it's cool now to see the payoff of that.
Mhm.
And it's like, wow, we were right. Like that song really was special. So I think that's probably my favorite one.
Hell yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour. You're at a gas station for a rest stop. You're going in. What's your snack of choice?
Oh, Reese's Fast Break every time.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of those?
I think so, but if you could describe it to me, that would make it easier.
It's like it looks like a Snickers bar, but
Mhm.
it's chocolate and it's filled with peanut butter and then nougat on the bottom. Is that how you say that word?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think. Yeah, it's like filled with that. It's like a Snicker. It's the best candy bar ever. I get one every single time.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna have
awesome.
to try to find those.
Yeah, definitely check it out. They're bomb.
So on the topic of food, if your project was a dish, what dish would your project be and why?
I like that question.
Thank you.
Ooh, it would be a charcuterie board
Oh,
for
okay.
sure.
Okay.
You got all these different types of cheese, and then sometimes you got crackers, and then you got, the honeycomb on there. Like, yeah, charcuterie board, hands down.
Hell yeah.
Love it.
So for the last couple of questions, we're going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
Let's
So
go.
if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with drink?
Oh, last meal with a drink. This is gonna be a really dumb answer, okay? But
Okay.
I mean this. My last meal of my life would be 15 boneless buffalo wings from Buffalo Wild Wings.
Okay.
And the fattest glass of Mountain Dew that I can possibly have. That's the two. I have this weird love with Buffalo Wild Wings because I'm from Ohio, and that's just what we did growing up. And so that's like my comfort food is boneless wings from B-Dubs.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's nothing weird about that. Bro, I
right,
need
I'll
that
take
right
it.
now. Like,
Let's
that's
go.
fair.
Let's go.
Yeah. So if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Somewhere in so I'm like a big Marvel nerd. Like it would be like, what's the place from Guardians of the Galaxy? Like Xandar. Xandar is
Oh,
what
yep,
it's called.
yep.
Just like another so one of my biggest fantasies is that like I'll probably never go to space in my life. And that makes me so sad because I want to go explore the galaxy like they do in Marvel. And so I would say anywhere that's like Earth, but the exact opposite. So yeah, I'm going Xandar from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Perfect.
I love it.
So I have a lot of asking the last question, and every single person that we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
Oh, yellow.
Fuck yeah,
Gotta
man.
Dude, twin. Best color.
Hey,
Best color
let's
ever.
go. You got great taste. You got great
Thank you.
taste.
So do you.
Much love. I appreciate that.
Hell yeah. So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Dude, honestly, I just want to say thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening. And for anybody who hasn't listened, go listen to it in your car with the windows down as loud as you possibly can. And if you shed a tear or two, that's on you. That's not on me. That's like.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thank you for sounding. That's been Knox, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.